Hey everybody, welcome back, or welcome if you're new to the channel. Today I'm going to be breaking down kind of a class guide for the Evoker, since Wowhead doesn't have one yet, and I haven't really seen one on YouTube. Disclaimer that this is as of October 1st on the beta, and things may change slightly before it goes live. For secondary stat distribution, all stats are pretty good for Evoker, but there is a definite order. Mastery Giant Killer is our go-to. The higher the health the target, the more damage we're dealing to it. This is our main stack. Then Crit, then Haste, then Versatility. You want, out of 10 being max, you want about 9 Mastery, 7 Crit, and 5 Haste. And then just as much Versatility, keeping those numbers as you can. As an Evoker, you have two different schools of magic for your main spells, red and blue. You have a filler spell, an essence spender, empowered spells, and then a special cooldown for each. Your filler spell in single target is Living Flame, it's your red spell. In AoE, it's Azure Strike, which is an instant cast, that's your blue spell. Your essence spender for AoE is red, it's called Pyre. It lobs in the air like that and hits multiple targets. The Godzilla Beam is your blue spender. It is your main go-to spam ability. Your empowered ability for red is Fire Breath. Your empowered ability for blue, which is your largest burst damage, is Eternity Surge. Your special cooldown for red is called Firestorm. Right here, you just place it on the ground, and you can see the storm pop up above and just start spitting down fire. Your go-to blue special ability is Shattering Star. You pop it, and then for a few seconds afterwards, it increases the damage of the next ability you're casting. Living Flame is a cool interaction with the Leaping Flames talent. If you're just to fire off a Living Flame, as you can see here, it just shoots one and hits single target. If you were to use Fire Breath, for each charge of the Fire Breath, it causes a Living Flame to shoot out, so at max rank, you'll shoot 4 extra Living Flames. So let's do a full rank Fire Breath here. Now we do our Living Flame. And as you can see, it just shot off multiple of them. So that's a really cool interaction that you always want to keep in mind. You want to always Living Flame after Fire Breath to get the AoE and the multiple hits. If there's not enough enemies nearby, it will throw out multiple heals on friendlies instead. The Charged Blast talent causes your blue spells to increase the damage of your Pyre by 5%, stacking up to 20 times. Once you hit 20 stacks, it is capped, so then that's when you'd want to fire off a Pyre. Pyre currently does a little bit of lackluster damage, so it's worth it to stack it up to 20 before you spend it. As you can see, it's stacking up here. You want to keep using your blue spells until you get it to 20. And then you fire it off once you reach 20. It's at 20 now, and now we're going to fire it off. Does significantly more damage. Scintillation causes your Disintegrate to fire off a rank 1 Eternity Surge at 60% power. As you're charging the beam, you'll see when you get an Eternity Surge, things fly out the left and the right side of the beam. Just like that, and this will hit 2 target cleave. It is a large burst of damage and is an absolute must-take talent. One cool interaction is your Disintegrate has a pandemic window, so if you watch a regular, watch the ticks of damage up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 ticks of damage. But if you start channeling another Disintegrate after the 3rd tick, it takes the 4th tick of Disintegrate damage and puts it into the next Disintegrate. So it pandemics it across. So if you watch 1, 2, 3, do it again, there's your double tick, and there's your 4 ticks on your second Disintegrate. So you actually get 5 ticks on the Disintegrate because of the pandemic. It's something to keep in mind and something that you should be doing because it's optimal. Deep Breath is the iconic ability for Evokers. It's where you fly forward shooting fire down on the ground. There's also a really cool interaction with the talent called Recall, where for 3 seconds after landing, you can use the ability to recall back to where you started from. As you can see, there's a very long range on this, or you can do short up to 25 yards. So if you're to fire it off, you hit anything in your path. Once you land, you hit the ability again, and you recall back to where you started. This is the iconic Evoker ability. Tip the Scales is one of your big cooldowns. It's a 2-minute cooldown, and it compresses time to allow your empowered abilities to cast at max charge instantly. So for example, if you watch this Eternity Surge is charging up all the way, it's pretty slow. If you tip the Scales and Fire Breath, it instantly fires it off at max rank. So this is something that's very strong to use. In single target, you always want to empower your Fire Breath because it does tick damage, and Eternity Surge just hits more enemies. In AoE, it's the exact opposite. Dragon Rage is another big cooldown that we have. It's on a 2-minute window and fires off 3 pyres at enemies, and for 14 seconds afterward, you're guaranteed to get Essence Burst from your fillers to use free spenders without costing any essences. This is also extended by using empowered abilities during it. So for example, if you pop Dragon Rage, you can see the timer up in the top window. Empowered abilities extend the duration. Your fillers cause you to get Essence Burst, and then you can spend them with your spenders. If you, again, it triggers you to get Essence Bursts, and then you spend them. Your single target opener would be Precasting Living Flame, pop Dragon Rage and Tip the Scales, Fire Breath at max rank with your instant Fire Breath from Tip the Scales, do a rank 1 Eternity Surge, start spamming Disintegrates with using Living Flame to generate more Essence Bursts during your Dragon Rage window. When Dragon Rage is done, you then Deep Breath, and if you have it talented, Recall. You're then going into your Living Flame / Disintegration spam, and whenever it's available, Fire Breath or Eternity Surge. For your AoE opener, you want to pop Fire Breath precasted max rank, Living Flames so that Leaping Flames makes it hit multiple targets, pop Dragon Rage and Tip the Scales, Eternity Surge at max rank if there's an appropriate number of targets to do so. Then you're spamming Disintegrate or Pyre once it's buffed to use your Essence Burst procs, and Azure Strike is what you spam to generate more Essence Burst procs. When Dragon Rage expires, you use your Deep Breath and then Recall. And otherwise, you are Disintegrate / Pyre, Azure Strike spamming, and then Eternity Surge and Fire Breath whenever it's available. Always Living Flames after a Fire Breath to use your Leaping Flames proc. There are a number of viable talent builds for both single target and AoE in both M+ / dungeons and raid environments. This is my favorite go-to at the moment. I call it Hoarded Flames. It's a good mixture of AoE and single target, and I use this in M+. This is your generic M+ build with Firestorm. This is great in AoE and still strong in single target. This is a great all-around go-to for Dungeons and Mythic+. This build is the Starstorm build centered for M+. If you like Starstorm and you want to use it in M+, this would be the build you're using. This is your raid single target build. It's also called Starstorm because it uses Firestorm as well as Shattering Star. This is great for single target and is actually pretty decent in AoE as well. This is a really good raid cleave / AoE build. You don't use Shattering Star in it, otherwise it's pretty much the exact same as single target. This is meant for AoE and 2 or more target cleave scenarios. This raid build is centered around frequent usage of Deep Breath, bringing it down to 1 minute. This is very good for ad fights where there's frequent ads spawning. The Evoker Covenant ability is called Boon of the Covenants. This is on a 2-minute cooldown and has 2 aspects to it, a passive and then the on-use effect. The passive, the Covenants have granted you a portion of their power, increasing your damage and healing by 4%. The use, call upon the Covenants of the Shadowlands to aid you, restoring 600% of spell power, health, and increasing your versatility by 10% for 12 seconds. This is actually pretty powerful, generic but powerful. The Evoker Unity legendary power is just called Unity. Boon of the Covenants passively increases your damage and healing by an additional 5%. Nothing special, but just an added boost of power. That essentially covers the entire Devastation Evoker as a class guide. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you can, and I'll see you in the next one.